No wonder Chef Sandy has a replacement on standby because Chef Jono listens to advice as well as Angel Reese can make a layup. Ian's beach lunch was less organized than Kyle and Ben's cabin last season. And Joe is starting a war between roommates, but if he doesn't pick one soon, there's a good chance he never stays a single night in their cabin.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Lane.
And welcome to Below Deck Sports. Today we are recapping Below Deck Med, Season 9, Episode 4, Greeking Havoc. Classic title.
I don't get it.
What are they, in Greece or something?
What are they, in Greece? Is there havoc going on?
So the way our episodes work is we start for a quick question for each other based upon this week's episode because we don't watch them together. And then we focus on 3 main points throughout. The points I have written down today are Chef continuing to struggle. For the love of God, stop using that spice.
Yeah. Just stop.
I don't know. Just don't use that spice. I don't know.
Yeah.
The beach picnic and Ian's mess up.
Yeah.
We'll keep it PG. And night out, Joe playing the field.
Yeah. Quick thing.
Okay.
Today is actually our 1-year YouTube channel anniversary.
We didn't miss it?
No.
Oh my God.
Apparently we made the channel
earlier than we posted our first video.
Something like that. I don't know. It came up on the YouTube.
On the youtube.com.
youtube.com. Check it out.
So congrats to us.
Yeah.
Thank you for everybody who's been along for the ride, who's been here from the beginning, who's maybe just joining today. We are so happy to be here. It doesn't seem like a year. I hope we're better now than we were a year ago.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, our first video was in Brad's office sharing one microphone that was not made to be shared.
That was really bad. But you know what? This is for anybody who is thinking about like creating their own podcast or just like taking the leap into something they want to do creatively. It doesn't even have to be a podcast. Just do the first thing.
Yeah. Because
the reason we are doing this today is because we did that awful first episode in my husband's office, because we were like, we just got to do it. You can't wait till everything's perfect. You're learning along the way. And I hope we're doing this in another year, and I hope we're doing it a whole lot better than we are now.
Yeah. And we're not perfect by any means.
Oh, God, no.
We're not saying that.
God. Every week we talk about how we could do way more, and we just don't.
We don't.
So we're really just surviving off comedic effect.
Yeah. And you guys supporting us for some reason. You guys like us, apparently. Thank you.
So, yay for us. I thought that was another thing that we did wrong, was miss our own anniversary.
Because I texted her, I don't know what YouTube told me, but it was supposed to be on the 11th, but then I got the notification today that it was the 1 year.
Oh, good.
So I don't know what's going on.
Technically, it's the day we're recording this is our 1 year. But then when it's posted, it'll be 1 year and 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good enough. You know, we tried.
I mean, we got pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's surprising for us.
Yeah, he texted me on Monday and said, we missed the 1 year anniversary of Below Deck Sports. And I said, damn, we're bad at this. And then he sent me a picture of 2 foot-long subs he bought for $10.99 and said, show me a better deal. So we moved on real quick.
Show me a better deal. All right. They're like 14 inches. There's 2 of them. It's $11.
Exactly. Like, that's basically what you paid at Subway when they had $5 footlongs, which they don't anymore. That's a thing of the past.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, don't ask my husband about Subway. He has a personal vendetta against them.
In my head, I had him just bursting through the door. Like,
Did
what
you
are you guys
say
talking
Subway?
about? You guys talking about fucking Subway? I'll talk. Give me the mic. Give me the mic.
What is his thing is they got rid of some sort of vinaigrette that he loved.
Yeah.
That's his main thing. We'll have to ask him on a after party.
Yeah.
One of these times.
Every time I drive back from a place that I don't want to give the location of, I stop at a particular Subway and I'm just disappointed
every time.
Every single time.
Every time you go in there, you're like, you don't have a regular order either. You always like try something else because you're hoping it's better than what you ordered before,
but
and it never is.
It's just a vegetable sandwich.
I know. They give you like 3 pieces of meat.
Yeah. And I'm not even asking for much. No. It's like a salami pepperoni. Those are like the cheaper meats.
Yeah. Anywho.
Any hoozles.
My question for you is, does Chef make it the whole season? I know, it's risky. I want to say no because it seems like the easy answer.
If I was a betting man, and I am, and I lost on the Stanley Cup, thanks Panthers, assholes, I would say no.
I know. Yeah, odds are no. Because of just everything that's happened and looks like what is going to continue to happen.
And he's not learning. He's not progressing.
Yeah.
He's just doing the same thing that he's been doing.
Yep. And if you think like Chef Anthony at this rate was better than him, and Chef Anthony didn't make it the whole season.
Yeah. So that is a really good point.
That's what I'm using.
He was very good, but just had a few problems. And and then he told the table...
Oh my God.
I just followed an internet recipe.
Why would you do that?
That's what I do. I follow internet recipes.
Yeah. You're not a chef on a yacht.
No.
I mean, I know, why would you say that? Like, the one thing you could do is say, oh, it's my grandma's recipe that I've been following my whole life. So it might be a little bit different than what you're used to.
Or just say just keep it vague. Like it's grandma's old recipe.
Or
that doesn't say whose grandma it is.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't even have to add the grandma in there. You could have just been like, oh, yeah, like, it's my take on this thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
And even I would probably follow a recipe if I was at that high caliber of food. But when I want to make something, I look at the recipe and I'm like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I don't really look at it unless it's like homemade pasta or something.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. So we're going with he doesn't make it. It's possible he does, but right now it's not looking good. Yeah.
My question, who would you pick? Brie or Ellie?
If I were Joe? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm just going to give my opinion on who I think is prettier. Ellie.
I go all around.
Okay. Gosh. All around? Probably Brie. I think I said this last week. I think as far as matching, Joe and Brie make more sense. I said this last week. I don't see Ellie going. She says he's hot. She says she wants to get him in bed. She's saying all these things, but I don't envision them together. And he doesn't look like a guy she would typically go for. I see her with like a 6'5" Swedish blonde model.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. That's just where my brain goes. So it's like they don't look like they're together. So if I was just, I guess that Brie.
Yeah. See, I overthought this so much because I was like, well, Joe's a good looking guy and they're both pretty, but I don't know what I was doing at the time. I was just overthinking it. But they both make sense in different ways, but they both don't make sense in different ways.
Yeah.
But then I was also tying myself in. I'm like, who would I go with?
Right.
And then I got confused.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors to it, but I'm going with like who I see with him. But here's the thing is like, and he's going to say it later, like he's literally just going to go for who's going to go for him.
Yeah, but they both want him and they only want to hook up.
Yeah.
So why not just share him?
I guess. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have more to say about it when it gets there, but it's like, why doesn't somebody just say, I want him? They won't even say it. And then that's why they get themselves in like the pickle in the end. They're both being like, well, I don't want anything serious. Well, I don't want anything serious either. Well, I don't want to go for him. Well, I don't want to go for him. Like, no, that's why like things are confusing.
Yeah. I mean, one could get Monday, Wednesday, Friday. One can get Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, give him a break.
This is the only time Joe is going to be in a situation like this.
Yeah, he needs to capitalize.
So we start off with Chef and Captain Sandy having a conversation about the cooking. This was about breakfast, about how he made the eggs like an hour and a half too early. Mm-hmm. We talked about this last week, the huevos rancheros, how he said they couldn't be made to order, but Captain Sandy's like, eggs are always made to order, bro.
Yeah. Unless they're poached.
Well, I was going to say...
Poached eggs can catch these hands.
And we did talk about this last week, but can you make huevos rancheros made to order?
I believe so. I think I said yes last week. I can't remember exactly what it is, but from what I remember, just keep everything warm and then make new fried eggs.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Fried eggs
thinking.
are not hard.
So I'm reading this. It's like easy huevos rancheros consists of corn tortillas topped with refried beans. Okay, I don't need the pop-up.
Oh, it's
salsa
basically
and eggs.
Yeah, it's like salsa. Well, you just said
It's
it.
like
I'm not
egg
gonna copy it.
tacos.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't need to prep that. You
No.
can prep the tortillas and make the salsa like you said and prep the beans and then just make the eggs.
Or
yeah,
just
okay.
like if you're using refried beans or chorizo, just keep everything separate and warm until you make them, and then put that together, make eggs, good to go.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm with Captain Sandy on that one. So,
Mm-hmm.
I know you made the joke at the beginning about how he can't take feedback, but I actually thought he took feedback somewhat well this episode.
Yeah,
He did what he could.
It was more of like he takes feedback well and he accepts it, but I don't think he's changed much.
Okay. Yeah, and I see his I'm jumping way ahead now for when they have the conversation about the chicken.
Yeah.
At the end of the charter, I see his reasoning on that. Basically, what he read was some guests don't like red meat, some guests don't like seafood. If I do chicken, everybody will like it. That's kind of just a cop-out, though. Like, again, like a super yacht chef should prepare some seafood for the guests that want the seafood, some, like, vice versa, right? Serve the red meat to the ones who don't want seafood. Serve the seafood to the ones who don't want the red meat. You know what I mean?
If you serve me chicken in the Mediterranean, I'm throwing it at someone.
Yeah.
Probably not at Asia, but at somebody.
We said this last week, but if it's nice wings, I'll eat those.
At 2 in the morning,
lunch.
yeah.
At lunch,
Or
though.
at lunch.
Lunches, you can do a fancy wing at lunch.
Yeah.
So they have a conversation about that. He goes on his way. So far, Bree is doing well. She's learning. Ellie is really, I think they're like making the point of like, Ellie and Bree are working great together.
They're working really well together. Nothing's gonna change.
Yeah. How could anything go wrong?
How could it go wrong? Welcome back to Bravo.
But I do like that Ellie is taking on that like Bree is her responsibility and like her success is Ellie's success. And I like that because you never really see that.
No, you always see the second stew being like, this third stew sucks. Get her out of here.
Yeah,
Get her
give me
out
a
of
new
here.
one.
And then they get rid of her, and then another stew comes in who's like arguably better than
Right.
the second stew. And she's like, well, I fucking hate her too.
Exactly.
It's like, well, pick one.
Right.
You know? Mold the clay or don't complain.
Yeah. So now let's move on to the whole beach picnic game debacle. It seems like it was a lot for really nothing.
Yeah.
How do you want to sum this up? So basically, the guests wanted to play games on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
The guests tell Ian that they'll come up with ideas? Is that like kind of what happened?
That was from, I think, the preference sheet.
Okay. So then Aisha's like, hey, Ian, what are you doing for games? And he's like, oh, the guests have that covered. And she's like, yeah, no, they don't. Like we have to think of it or we have to prepare it at least. Like what? I don't understand what he thought the guests were going to do.
Yeah. I would argue that that's not really his department.
Yeah, it is though. Beach games.
Really?
I think you're thinking of like the themed parties and stuff. Like when they do games on the boat. I think on the boat is interior. Mm-hmm. I think beach is deck team.
True, because they just have like the volleyball net and all that stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know what
I
knew what you were saying.
Yeah.
But yes, like that's how like the slide is the deck team. That's like an entertainment outside type thing. So then he tells Or then what happens? Like Nathan, Ian, and Gail are like eating lunch or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're literally being like, hey, should we prepare some stuff?
Yeah, and he's like, oh, no. Well, this was after Aisha was, yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
Aisha was like, no, you should probably do something.
Yeah.
And then Gail was like, so do we need to prepare anything? Like, what are we doing? And Ian's like, oh, no, it's on the guests.
Right, or something like that. Because my note literally says, oh no, Gail is literally saying she doesn't want to be underprepared for the
That's
beach
what it
games.
was, yeah.
And I'm guessing that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't end up happening, right?
I mean, they're underprepared, but the guests are like, oh, hey, it's fine.
Right. So the reasons, and then a whole other issue. So basically, Gail and Joe go to set up the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're like working really hard. Like they have to walk all over. Looks like they have to walk all over setting this up.
Yeah.
And then Ian's just driving the guests like, hey, we're on our way.
Yeah.
What is happening?
He either just didn't think about it or the guests
Hopped on the boat?
hopped on. Well, but they were even telling the guests like, hey, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think it was completely on Ian.
Yeah, because they totally could have been like, Aisha could have made them drinks. Like, oh, one more drink on the boat.
Yeah.
And, like they could have stalled them.
Or just like made up some bullshit like, all right, what game are we playing first? If you hit heads on a quarter, then we'll do that. Like, you can distract
Yes,
people. It's
that's
not
true.
that hard. When
Yep.
people are on vacation and drinking, you can distract them with anything.
Yeah. So that's what happens is the guests end up getting there and they're like scrambling to set it up. The deck team's getting very irritated with Ian. I think they're basically all on the same page with how they're irritated with him. Just because they're like, he's kind of making us look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, it ends up being fine. Like they are setting it up when the guests get there, but the guests don't seem too upset about it.
No, they were fine. Which I bet the producers were like, damn it.
Right. So you want to talk about the beach lunch?
No.
Okay.
Yes. There was not much info.
I was going to say, I didn't have anything written down, but I also don't pay a ton of attention.
So this is literally what I've written down. And I've watched, I don't know if I just missed it. I don't know. Don't come at me.
No, come at him. It's his one job.
You want a fresh one? This is what I have written down. I don't really know how to describe it. All I recognized was lobster tail. I don't even know how he cooked it, but the guests loved it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I was going to say, the one note I have is that the guests did like the beach lunch, which is, I think, pretty much the only meal he did well.
Yeah. And I could be wrong. I could have missed it. When I watch these episodes, I'm taking notes. So sometimes I miss stuff.
Well, I have, they're happy with the food at least. So we're both on the same page with that. They play volleyball. That's the only game they really play, right?
Yeah, they play volleyball and then they do the long jump.
Oh, really? Are you lying?
No.
They like literally do long jump?
Yeah, it was really dumb.
I was going to say, if you made me do long jump for a beach game, I'd be like, I'm going to break my leg.
Yeah, it's stupid. Let's just play volleyball.
Yeah. I wanna
Or
play
go
volleyball.
swim in the water or something.
Right. What would be your perfect beach game? Well, volleyball would be mine, obviously.
I don't know exactly what it's called, but basically there's a bunch of people on the beach and I have a BB gun. And, when everyone just give them a little welt on the arm.
What if that's what they came up with? They just gave them paintball guns. Like, here's your game.
If I was in America, I would do it. If I was in any other country, I'd be like, I'm good. That sounds really fun. But
oh, you know what game? I don't know that I've ever played this, but I've always wanted to when I see it.
Bocce ball?
I don't know what bocce ball is.
Neither do I.
But it's the giant beer pong with the garbage cans.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. That's not easy to set up though. You need fucking 16 garbage cans.
Yeah, you need a bunch.
It's not like you're toting a bunch of garbage buckets, garbage bins, garbage can.
You'll get there.
Can. I just said it and then I lost it. So yeah, that's basically it for the beach, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we covered all that.
Yeah. Honestly, my next note is dinner. So did I miss anything?
Sandy's joining them for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much the next thing. It's a bunch
Yeah.
of B-roll and then dinner.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say there was really nothing that I could take notes on between the beach lunch and dinner. So
I think they do water sports when they get back, but that's just
yeah.
a normal thing.
Yep. That's all I'd be doing.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we've talked about this on here before. I think it's the last season of I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson when it's like the bachelor house and she's like, I feel like you're just here for the zip line.
Yeah, we have talked about
That's
this.
me. That is me to a T. Brad says it all the time. Like if I was ever on one of these reality shows, you would just everybody would be like in their nice dresses, like talk, and I'd be like in the pool doing like cannonballs and stuff. So that's totally me. Like if there was I feel like you're just here for the zip line.
Yeah, you'd be the girl like, you want to play mermaids?
Yeah.
No, it'd be me and you jumping off the back of the boat like we did in Arizona.
Yes. Or like everybody would be getting ready for dinner and I'd still be on the slide. Like just literally like I'd do that thing like 50 times, I swear.
That would be how you got onto the show is the lead deckhand's like, we got to get this slide in, but she won't get off of it.
It's getting dark.
That would be your 19 seconds on the show.
Yeah, it would be. Oh, all right. Well, let's just jump into dinner. Sandy is joining them. So what do we think she's gonna have to say?
Yeah. It is, the first dish is gazpacho with a plantain chip and feta cheese. I always want to say feta. Ferta. Gazpacho is a chilled Spanish tomato soup. And I write my notes like I just talk. I don't really care. No, I'm kidding. So basically you chop up some tomatoes, cucumbers, green bell peppers, red onions, and garlic cloves. But before you blend it, you add some olive oil, sherry vinegar, cumin, gross, and salt and pepper. After blending all of those together, you put some dry bread into the mixture, and once the bread is soaked with the liquid, you blend the soup again, making it thicker and reducing some of the earthiness of the fresh ingredients. I don't think I would be a fan of this.
No. Cold soup.
Nah.
Did they request gazpacho?
I doubt it.
Is this what they requested, though? Because there was something, that's why he followed a grandma's recipe.
I can't remember.
I think this was the one. I think this was the thing that they complained about because of the spices. Now, cumin is not that bad. Cumin it's not that bad. And it does seem like it fits in a dish like this, but the one spice she was so upset about is like cardamom. She kept looking for like cardamom and things. He put ginger in it, I think is what it was.
My next note is he added ginger and says he followed a recipe that said it was authentic. So yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
This was the one where he was like, I followed a recipe online. Isn't that crazy?
I said, Arnar, why did he say that?
Arnar.
Anywho, what's next?
Fresh pasta with, I forgot how to say that.
Arnar.
It's Cacio.
Cacio?
Cacio e pepe, tiger prawn, and seared scallops.
Okay. What'd they think about this one? I can't remember.
My first note is, thanks, chef. The primary guest hated it, and I have spent 15 minutes researching it. And I just made a couple points about talking shit about fresh pasta. I'll move on.
Okay.
How did we say it? Cacio?
Cacio.
Cacio. O pepe is a fancy way of saying butter, cheese, and pepper pasta.
That's literally all it is.
Tiger prawn is basically big shrimp that have a bold, sweet, and firm meat. Some people say they're the poor man's lobster. What?
Bold, sweet, and firm meat?
That's what they said about me in college. Scallops are basically little savory sponges that soak up any and all flavors in the dish that they're a part of.
I love scallops if they're cooked right, if they're not like super rubbery.
And my last point is Jonah basically said, tonight we're having bro o formaggio con pasta, which is what you get when you Google translate butter and cheese with pasta from English to Italian.
Oh, good job. Bravo.
The network.
The network.
I thought that was a good joke.
So, yeah, I don't think they were crazy about this one.
No. Sandy says he's 0-2.
Oh, yep.
And then the strawberry thing between Gail and Nathan is stupid and cringy.
Oh, yeah, I have that later, but then I have dessert. You skipped over dessert.
I just wanted to get that out there.
Yep.
I knew I'd forget to say it.
No, I literally have, oh my God, Gail and Nathan talking about strawberries again. We're not stupid. We know it's kisses.
Yeah, and it's
like, it's literally
cringy.
It's like high school or maybe even middle school when these two kids in class are trying to have like a secret language, but you're like, bitch, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not stupid.
You're not being clever. So yes, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Going back to dessert, we basically got sponge cake 2.0.
Yep, that's a great way to put it.
It is. I don't even know what kind of cake did he even say? Oh, lava cake.
Yeah.
Except there was no lava aspect to it.
I wrote down, I'm pretty sure that Dee Dee made something similar in her Easy Bake Oven as a child.
That's literally what it looked like.
Yeah.
I used to make, anybody who had an Easy Bake Oven, I loved the little mini, it was chocolate cakes, and they were like M&Ms, so they were like just a circle, and then you'd ice it with, icing, and then you'd do the little powdered sugar with the M. But I remember this is how long I've been a psycho, that I remember that it wasn't perfect, so I was upset. Mm-hmm. Because what you'd have to do, which didn't make any sense, okay, it just didn't, was you'd have to take the cake and then you'd ice it. Okay, icing is like sticky, and then you'd have to put the little thing over it to be able to put the M on it. Mm-hmm. But then the icing would get on the little mold, and it would look stupid and it would look bad. And I was like 5 years old, and I hated that.
Yeah, we're just wired differently.
I hate myself. There's probably even a video of it where I'm like, oh my God, Mom, no. Like, that's why I can't color. If anybody like colors in those adult coloring books, I can't do it because if it's not absolutely perfect, I hate it.
Yeah, we are very different. I'm more of like the creative and you're more of like the analytic.
Yes. Typical older, younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I want to be better about it, and I think I am minorly getting better at it, but yeah, I've done the same thing as an adult. Like, I remember the first time I tried to make like a chocolate cake from scratch and icing from scratch.
Yeah.
It looked really bad. And
yeah, when you were on that baking cake, I avoided you like a plague because I knew it was not going to be good. Because I went through the same thing with cooking, but I'm like, yeah, it's still edible. I'm fine.
Right. My husband is, again, like the opposite of me. And he's like, it just matters about how it tastes, and it tastes really good. And I'm like, but it looks like shit.
He's like, it's reconstructed. It's reconstructed. Deconstructed.
So anyway, back to these cakes. Overcooked lava cake with melted coffee ice cream. There is no lava aspect. The ice cream's melted. It literally looks like out of an Easy Bake Oven.
Yeah. Like, I would be, well, I don't really get that angry. But I would be very disappointed if that was the dessert. I know you'd be pissed.
I would be. Yeah. Because we talked about this like last season, or maybe it was like even the season before. I can't remember what chef it was. But this chef kept making the same thing over and over, but it was a good dessert. Mm-hmm. And we were like, what's the problem? Like, if it's different charters and you're making the same... Oh, it was a lava cake. And I can't remember what chef it was, but it doesn't matter. But it was like, if you can make a fucking great lava cake and you want to serve it to every charter you have, why not do that?
Yeah. I mean, that's like me with my chicken Alfredo.
Right.
I'd feed it to anybody that I'm trying to slightly impress.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, So that was bad. He went 0 for 3, and Sandy is not happy.
No.
Just another note on dinner. Gigi loves talking about how she was in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Oh, she eats that shit up. She's like, ask me anything. First of all, she's talking about 92, which is like older than both of us.
Yep.
I can't remember what happened like 5 years ago. So how do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, it is a big thing to accomplish.
But how does she remember all the little stuff? Ow.
That was kind of a funny story, though. She was like getting mad that people were sitting in their seats and they're like, oh, that's the king and queen of Spain.
Oh, you know she loves telling that story.
Oh, she's probably told that story
so many times.
Probably 2,000 times.
Yeah. So that's all I picked up on that. I was like, oh, you love telling that story, girl. Anyway, they have Greek folk music and dancing. I think that probably helped cap the night off, that they didn't just go to bed after a shitty dinner.
Yeah.
Aisha broke a glass and cut her finger. Guest got her a Band-Aid. It's basically that.
Filled time. Yeah.
So yeah, then that's basically it. We already talked about this. Ellie and Bree are talking about Joe in the laundry room, and they're both like, yeah, I just want to hook up, and they're like, yeah, like whatever, if it happens, it happens. Like, this is where I was like, okay, I wish one of them, especially Ellie, like this is where I take issue a little bit with Ellie about like, because later on she says something like, if your superior wants to go after a guy, you don't have go after a guy. And I was like, Ellie, then you should have said that to Bree.
Yeah.
If it'd be one thing if she said to Bree, hey, Bree, I do want Joe. And then Bree continued to go for him. But she didn't say that.
No.
At least we didn't see that.
Yeah. And who knows? Editing is a powerful thing.
Exactly. So.
But yeah, you never know. Because yeah, we pretty much covered the night out, right?
No, not yet.
Oh, I thought you were trying to end the episode.
No. I'm ending the charter.
Oh, okay.
The charter is basically ending.
I was like, reel it back a little, dude.
No. The charter. I'm at the tip. They're at the tip.
Okay, yeah, that's where I'm at too.
Well, I guess the charter ends. They leave, and Gigi says the food was just okay.
Yeah.
Everything else was great. Food was just okay.
Could hear my heartbeat for a second.
But anyway, the tip is $25,000, which I think is good for the food being shitty.
$5,000 above average.
Is it?
Yeah.
I always get confused because going from season to season, like med and regular and yacht or sailing yacht, it's like what's good is different usually.
What I've noticed is outside of sailing yacht, usually the average is 20,000.
Yeah. Sailing yacht, they do get the most money, though, because there's the least amount of staff. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking total-wise.
But then I think what also confuses me is there's usually more staff on regular below deck than med, too. And if you think about it, on med this season, they're down a stew. So they are getting a bigger tip.
Yeah.
Which, hey, kind
of
like. I would like it.
They can do it.
Yep. So then at the tip meeting there, Sandy's going around and she's like, and I'm going to talk to Chef in the bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, I would hate that. That's so embarrassing. Like, this feedback's so bad, you can't even say it in front of everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that would feel so bad.
Like, can I see you in my office?
Yeah, she's like, deck team, you did great. You fumbled a little bit, but you did great. Jono, we're going to talk in the bridge. Anyway, Stews, you guys did fantastic. Bree, I'm so proud of you.
You know.
And I'd be like, oh,
I know, it's
just say it in front of everyone at this point. Like, that would hurt less.
Yeah, for real. So then they talk, and Sandy basically lays it out. Like, you can't be doing chicken. You have to step it up. The desserts were not good. And he seems to be taking the feedback well. So that's why, at the beginning I was like, he could turn it around, but we'll just have to see. He took it, and Sandy was happy with the way he responded.
Do you think the freezer's actually broken?
Oh yeah. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, why did he say that to Sandy?
Because the ice cream was melted.
Okay, but that doesn't have anything to do with okay, so he went to go get it from the freezer. It didn't melt in his walk from the freezer to the plate. It melted because he put it on a hot piece of cake. Mm-hmm. So the freezer has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I do remember him saying that, and I'm like, wait, I can't remember why he said it, though. Okay.
Yeah, none of it makes sense.
Yeah. So now we're on the night out. Here's the one thing I have written down about the night out. There was a conversation that was had where I did not understand one phrase that they said. And I'm going to read it out because I wrote it down phrase by phrase. Mm-hmm. It was Nathan, Joe, and Bree. Okay, here's the first phrase. Nathan, she's a cheeky monkey, eh?
Can't say that
Joe,
in America.
Sea cows of the monkey. Don't know what that either. Nathan, you're the... Oh, no, I think Joe says this too. You're the baboon girl. No idea. And then Bree says, ride on the bus, bitch. I'll bite your head off.
These sound like things I said the first time I got too high.
This sounds like I can't even come up with a good joke of like what it sounds like. It sounds like your 5-year-old cousin's trying to make jokes by putting random words together.
Yeah, before they figure out that they're not funny.
Right. So it has to be
me.
a lost in translation thing.
Yeah.
With English, Australian, South African, whatever. But I literally had to pause it, and I told my husband, I was like, did you just hear any of that? And he said no. I said, okay, I'm going to rewind it, and then I'm going to write down, because I even put the subtitles on, okay? So do not come for me. This is exactly what the subtitles said.
Yeah.
I have anybody who's not from this country that watches us, which is very few, I think, but tell me, does any of that make any sense?
No.
Now, and none of them were offended by it either, which is, I was like, okay, well, if you call me a baboon girl, I think I'd be offended by that, but
I wouldn't know how to feel because I'm a guy.
I know. Go back. If anybody, if you didn't see it, go back. It's like the last probably 5 to 10 minutes of the episode. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, what?
That doesn't even like, because you know me, like my main thing that I watch is YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of the YouTubers I watch are Australian. Never heard that before. The only thing I've heard is like, you're being cheeky.
Cheeky monkey, See cows of the monkey. You're the baboon girl. Ride on the bus, bitch. I'll bite your head off. No clue.
That sounds like it was written by AI.
It does. That's
Yeah.
another good way to put it. I guess think of something we say as Americans that someone wouldn't understand from another country. There's got to be stuff we say.
There's got to be.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but like
They don't do like, oh, that's 2 hours away. That's however many miles or kilometers away, but that's still like,
yeah, I'm sure there's things. Maybe that's the secret word. Come up with a phrase that we know in America that like if you said it to somebody else outside of the country, they wouldn't know.
you don't think they would understand. Or if
do you think they know what a glizzy is?
Yeah, but that's more like social media.
That's true.
But if you don't live in the United States, come up with something that you've heard Americans say and you're like, at first I didn't know what that meant, or I still don't know what that meant.
Yeah, that's a good one. So that's the secret word. The last thing is the coming up on, I think. Do you have anything else to say about the night out?
Nah, Joe's playing a dangerous game.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, and they keep kind of like baiting us with that a little bit. Like you're like, oh, next episode something. It's gonna obviously continue to boil.
Yeah. But for the coming up on, Jonah's food doesn't seem to get any better. Bree and Ellie are going at it about Joe.
Yep.
Bree tells Captain about it.
Oh yeah. Well, kind of.
She tells her something.
She's like, there's some drama going on that is making me upset or something like that.
Yeah, and it seems like Ian continues to fuck up.
It does, because my note is like Joe struggling, but it doesn't. There's no context to it, so we'll just have to see. I'm kind of rooting for Ian because again, I'm so tired of seeing bosuns fail.
Yeah,
That seems to be like the trend.
yeah.
So I want one to stick with us.
Because what was the first season we covered was
Down Under season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep thinking that we covered Med when they had House, but we didn't.
House.
The boat house.
Oh, home.
Home. I always say house. Yeah.
House.
Yeah. They're driving their house.
But yeah. So yeah, that's all we got this week. That was a pretty good episode, and I like this season so far. We'll see what happens, and tell us, are you Team Bree or Team Ellie?
Yeah.
That could also be part of the secret word, secret question.
Yeah. Comment the secret word. Happy 1 year to Below Deck.
Happy 1 year.
Thank
Fireworks.
you for being here.
Thanks for being here, guys. We will see you next week, okay?
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.